I'm going to start this video off by saying that this is definitely the worst terminal hacking system in any Fallout game so far, because, see, it's not quite complicated enough for it to actually be fun and or challenging, but it's not quite simple enough not to be annoying. So, anyhow, I unlocked the terminal downstairs and got the fusion core for the pansies upstairs. It was a novice terminal, which I'm pretty sure is the easiest difficulty of terminals, so I don't understand how like 5 or 6 people couldn't figure it out between themselves, but that's fine. So I got the fusion core, which apparently needs to go into the power armor, which again is apparently on the roof, so up I go, and I'm able to figure out how to put the fusion core into the power armor because I'm obviously a brilliant child prodigy. So I enter the power armor and I'm immediately presented with a new GUI, which takes up almost half the screen. Luckily, there's a conveniently placed minigun about 2 yards away from the power armor. How the raiders didn't get to this, I have no idea. So I began raining down bullets on the raiders, and I for no reason seem to just slip straight through the floor that I'm standing on because, you know, Fallout 4 Bethesda, you know how it is. So now that I'm down here, I decide to start mowing down the hostiles, which proves to be pretty easy since I literally went from having no armor to power armor in like 2 minutes. So in the middle of my killing spree, a death claw spontaneously pops out of the ground, which is, you know, perfectly fair and balanced if you ask me. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to die here. But as it turns out, I do have a stim pack, so I'm able to somehow just in the midst of battle inject through my power armor while fighting the Deathclaw, which obviously makes complete sense. So a couple of stim packs later, you know, the Deathclaw is dead. But that's not all, folks. Of course, there were still some thugs in the streets that I needed to eliminate. So let me just say, if it weren't for Jonathan the Ninth, Preston Garvey and his squad would be completely screwed. But so I'm slicing through the bad guys like a hot knife through butter. I actually almost died by an inconveniently timed exploding car. One thing Bethesda actually got right in this game would be the explosions, because it looked pretty decent. But so my dog actually gets injured, which I didn't even know could happen. So apparently I have to inject him with a stim pack, and bam, he's instantly fine. So this dog is gonna be pretty high maintenance. But after I'm finished doing Preston's dirty work for him, I go back inside for some reason, and he offers me some invisible money and ammo as payment for my near-death experience, which is great.
So here, for everything you've done, thank you.
He seems like a reasonable fellow, but the old lady, you know, she must be tripping on like 15 different drugs at once.
Your destiny. I've seen it. And I know your pain.
No, Mama Murphy, we talked about this. That junk. It's gonna kill you.
Shush, Preston.
So sooner or later, Preston gets the idea to head back to the first town of the game, Sanctuary, or, you know, whatever it's called. And this seems like a fine idea, except for the fact that Preston and his goons literally walk at the slowest possible pace of an NPC in this game. I swear, it must have taken at least half an hour to go to the village, which is probably like a mile away in the scale of the game. And, you know, accounting for the typical Bethesda BS, maybe even longer. So we encounter a grand total of 2 whole enemies in this half an hour endless hike, you know. Speaking of bugs, by the way, by the time we finally got to the village, Preston doesn't even have his gun anymore, but he's still holding it, so, like, apparently it's invisible. I'm not even going to try to explain that one. But, of course, Preston has another favorite ask, because apparently he's too busy dealing with the old lady, who's probably higher than the Empire State Building by now. So, basically, I have to go to a settlement or something and eradicate some raiders to free some innocent people, basically the exact same thing as the first quest, I guess. And at one point, I actually get a random notification that tells me that the dog has quote-unquote found something. So, as it turns out, he actually found a stack of cash, so he's basically paid for himself so far. I don't know if that stack of cash is going to buy me another stim pack, but we'll see. At this point, I don't want to waste all the power in the power armor since I don't even know how to recharge the thing, so I decided it's a good idea to take it off for now. There's only one problem. The game never actually told me how to take off the power armor. I try unequipping it in the Pip-Boy, pressing every single key on my keyboard. Nothing even works. I actually get to the point where I need to Google how to take off the power armor, which is pretty sad. But anyway, once I'm free of the power armor, I start frolicking through the wilderness in the general direction of the people I'm supposed to be saving. I take some armor off a cold dead body on the way since I have none. Apparently the right and left arm have different armor pieces in this game. Sooner or later, I find a place called THICKET Excavations. There's a guy here, apparently he's trying to fix the thing completely by himself. And he knows how to fix it, but he doesn't really want to. He's just pretty lazy. So inherently, the protagonist has to do it for him. there are leaks which are underwater, which seems easy enough. So I mindlessly dive into the water, only to realize that it's extremely radioactive. So this man is actually just trying to murder me. What a thug. So, or maybe he's just incredibly stupid. Too much radiation will do that to you. At any rate, I leave the toxic water and continue to the place that I was actually supposed to be going. On my way, I find another dead guy, so I take some stuff off him, and upon further inspection, he's actually being eaten by a rad roach, which is quite pleasant, but that has to stop, of course. So eventually, at the crack of dawn, I do find the people that I'm supposed to be rescuing, so I take 5 seconds to think of an extremely elaborate plan to rescue them. Then I take another 5 seconds to decide to end the episode on a cliffhanger so that the 6 of you watching will actually stick around for the next one. Peace.